For me, West Virginia is kind of an important place. I have a bit of a connection there simply because I've been there so often and because the people I've met there, every one of them has been so amazing. I think one of the hard things to see is how difficult things have been for local people since the mining industry took a bit of a dive. This trip, bringing Vern along, and we're going to get a little bit more in-depth look at just what's going on in that area.
West Virginia is a pretty interesting state. Essentially, West Virginia fueled the growth of the Industrial Revolution. But in recent years, with the downturn in the economy, with stricter environmental regulations, West Virginia has been suffering. That opportunity that seems to exist for West Virginia is tourism. And the one organization that is really seizing at this opportunity is Hatfield-McCoy Trail Systems.
The town of Pineville is a really surprising place. When you first drive in, you get the impression like this is a pretty small place and that there's probably nothing here, but that couldn't be further from the truth. The town of Pineville is actually a lot bigger than it seems, and there is every type of amenity you could possibly need. Our base of operations was Pinnacle ATV Lodging. It's a great little place right on the edge of town, brand new, quite a pretty little spot, and just amazing people who run it.
Within walking distance, you can have grocery stores, you can have a gas station, you can have local restaurants. They've got 4 really cool little intimate cabins that sleeps 4 individuals in each cabin, and then they have a larger lodge that you can also rent out as well.
Tonight we're having dinner at a place called Ole Jose, which is a Mexican-Italian fusion restaurant, and it's highly rated, not just for ATVers and not just in Pineville, but all over the place. So we're gonna meet up with our crew from Hatfield-McCoy and the owner of Ole Jose, Jill, and have some dinner, and she's gonna show us what gourmet food in West Virginia is all about.
Luke.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You as well. Luke, this is Ashley.
Well, thank you. We started out in Mexico, being a small town, needed to diversify. So then that's when we just decided to go to pizza school.
I went to pizza school too. While I was in school, I ate a lot of pizza.
She has this clay oven that's wood-fired, and in order to sort of get certified even to use this oven, she had to travel all the way to New York City, and she had to get trained from individuals from Verona, Italy, in how to use the clay oven and how to make a good pizza pie. She's now brought that back to the small town of Pineville, and she's not only feeding the people of Pineville, but all the people from the neighboring communities are traveling to come to her restaurant. You know, this is the key to my heart. This is really good.
Like I said, 2016 was a really bad year for here. Almost everybody was laid off around here, and the people that weren't laid off were scared to death to spend a dime because everybody else was laid off.
For sure, yeah.
You never talk to anyone that they don't realize the benefit of the tourism.
Was there any effect on tourism in terms of ATV and side-by-side visitors, or did that stay steady?
We've grown every year for the last 18 years.
There is not a doubt in my mind that if it wasn't for the tourism that was being generated by the four-wheelers, this restaurant, we would not be sitting here. It was that bad.
The food at Ole Jose did not disappoint. We had an awesome meal, but we had literally just rolled into town, and we had a bit of riding to do on the Pinnacle Creek trails the next day, so we needed to just get to bed. So we headed back to our lodge and called it a night. Whenever I come here to Hatfield-McCoy, I really like to hook up with somebody who knows the trail, but not just the trail in terms of where we're going, but the trail in terms of the history. So for this ride, we actually met up with the trail manager for Pinnacle Creek, Mike. There's nobody who knows this area and these trails better than he does.
Well, yesterday it was like 80% chance of thunderstorms all day. Now the sun's out, so it looks like it's gonna be a typical beautiful Hatfield-McCoy day on the trail. You guys all ready to rock it?
What are we doing today? Plan.
Yeah, we're gonna ride the Pinnacle Creek Trail System for Hatfield-McCoy Trails. Go over and check out the new connector going into the town of Kimball and Welch.
Those two townships must be really excited about having this connectivity now to the trail system.
Well, anytime you get more business in there, I mean, more money for the community. So I mean, it's always a good thing.
Let's get on the trail. Let's do some riding. Great.
Sounds good. Cool. So if you know anything about Hatfield-McCoy, one of the things that they try to do is within each of the trail systems, they're really working towards a system of interconnectivity, What they want to be able to do is ideally be able to link all 7 trail systems up. And as they develop new trail systems, have connectors in order to get to those trail systems. This is a stepping stone approach, obviously. They can't do everything in 1 year. So they have a mandate that every 2 years they're going to be adding 50 miles of trails to their systems. Mike, he came from the coal industry. He actually worked for a supplier of construction materials that was serving the coal industry. He had this opportunity to switch over and work for Hatfield-McCoy. Him being an outdoor enthusiast and an off-road enthusiast, he seized the opportunity.
I always like riding at Hatfield-McCoy because the trails are so scenic and so perfectly maintained. And this trip was going to be special because we're actually checking out some new community connectors that have just been opened, which means I'm going to get to visit some towns in West Virginia that I've never been to, and that's always fun. The town of Kimball is a perfect example of a small town in West Virginia. It's rich in history, both mining and cultural history, but there's not much else going on there. So the network of trails being connected is a big deal for them.
And as you go throughout the township, you'll get these old buildings from the early 1900s during the Industrial Revolution. And the history that surrounds these buildings is really interesting to look at. And it will surprise you. You'll come across an old railway track, and you look at an old tunnel and you think it might be abandoned, not being used any longer, and then before you know it, a train comes through with about 100 cars behind it.
The town of Welch is another place in West Virginia that can only be described as surprising. When we first rode into town, things looked pretty sparse. I was wrong. The further we went into town, the bigger it got, and I finally learned that at one time, Welch was being considered for the capital of West Virginia.
Welch was sort of the epicenter of the coal industry, is where a lot of businesses were sort of located out of. Politicians such as President Kennedy actually had a campaign rally in Welch back in the day. That's how popular the city of Welch was.
Riding down the main street of Welch was awesome. These buildings, I've never seen buildings this ornate before, and they were all just old, but so cool, and they were so full of history, which I love.
So this provides really cool opportunities for individuals that are out on their side-by-sides and ATVs touring around, because you're no longer sort of restricted to sort of stick to the trail system or some small townships. You can now get the amenities of these larger cities such as Welch. Man, we've seen a little bit of everything today.
Yeah.
It's not often you get to do trails and then get into a city center, and then we got all those trails to go back on. It's pretty cool.
There's no question we had an awesome ride day on the Pinnacle Creek trails, but this trip was about more than just riding ATVs and side-by-sides. One thing about West Virginia I love is how much there is to do here. So we jumped in the truck and we headed about an hour away from Pineville to a town called Fayetteville, which is literally listed on their sign as the coolest little town. River Expeditions is owned by a couple, Rick and Heather Johnson, and honestly, they are amazing people. Rick is hilarious. Rick is just your southern, down-home guy. I could listen to him talk all day, but he worked in the coal industry for many, many, many years. And when the coal industry took a downturn, he realized it was maybe time to get out and try something different. So he got involved in whitewater rafting and opened up River Expeditions. You know, he's been doing this now for more than 25 years.
River Expeditions is instrumental in helping people really relax and enjoy an authentic outdoor West Virginia vacation. My husband and I own the company. We're very hands-on, and we just want people to experience truly being outdoors, unplugging, getting together with family and friends, and just enjoying themselves in nature. At River Expeditions, we offer, of course, whitewater rafting on the New and the Gauley rivers. We have a zip line tour, beautiful cabin rentals, a campground, RV sites, an outdoor pool, a saloon, tons of other activities and amenities here to make your stay more enjoyable. River Expeditions is really proud to be partnering with Hatfield-McCoy Trails, and we're just excited to have it as one of the resources in our overall state tourism product. It makes us feel proud when we see tons of ATV rigs going up and down the highway, and we know that they're coming to our state and spending their vacation time and money when they have many other options.
Is that Vern? I don't know if you noticed, but there's someone screaming behind you.
I high-fived 2 trees.
What?
It's actually a lot of fun when you open your eyes.
Okay, yeah.
You know, Rick's a funny guy. He had stuff planned for us that we didn't even know about. After the zip line, he says, guys, we're gonna go do the New River Gorge Bridge Walk. And I'm like, didn't even know you could walk on the New River Gorge Bridge, but apparently you can, so away we went. I'm not really a big fan of walking. I'd rather be on an ATV, but when somebody gives you the opportunity to walk on like a 2-foot wide gangplank, 900 feet above the ground with nothing below you, you take that opportunity, and that's what the bridge walk was, and it was awesome. The only thing we had on the schedule for our final day in West Virginia was whitewater rafting the New River Gorge, which is something I had done before, but it was 8 years ago, so I was really looking forward to doing it again.
River Expeditions is pretty impressive. They alone have over 25,000 individuals that come to their company to go whitewater rafting every year. And that's about a quarter of the number of individuals that come to West Virginia in total to whitewater rafting.
Can you do me up, honey?
So it was Luke and I, along with Mark and our guide, Briar. So we were going down in a smaller raft.
Yeah, and when I purposely make us flip, I think it'll be pretty fun.
Like, purposely keep you out of the boat.
Our rafting guide's name was Briar, and he was a great guy. He had so much information about not just rafting, but he did know obviously a lot about rafting and told us all the techniques and things to watch out for.
So the and 1, and 2,
Okay.
and 3.
Overall, I mean, these guys know the river so well. They know it like the back of their hand, every little nook and cranny, every little water curl or wave, and they put you right in the best spot to have the most fun, to be safe, and also get some excitement. Halfway through the day, we pull up along the shore at this really cool little rocky area. River Expeditions supplies a lunch. Well, that was fun. And we had some sandwiches, some apples. I think I ate about 35 chocolate chip cookies. So that was great. And then the second half of the trip is the lower New River. And it's the part with the Class 5s in it. It's the exciting part. We got to know Briar pretty well as we were floating along some of the shallow pools or the slow-moving pools. I mean, you just can't ask for a better day in the sun. Trips like these in West Virginia are not something that you can only do as Dirt Trax TV. Anything we did on this trip, anyone can do. You could plan exactly the same trip as we did and have exactly as much fun as we did. That's really the draw of West Virginia these days, and that's really what's changing their economic situation.
West Virginia, in my mind, gets the vote for the adventure capital of the East Coast. There's no other area in the East Coast where you can enjoy so many outdoor activities as you can in West Virginia. This trip was a great experience, so much so that I think the next time I'm going to come down to West Virginia, I'm not just going to go down with the guys, but I'm going to bring my family, and hopefully they'll bring their families as well, and we'll experience this all together.
You can do it! You can do it!
That was awesome.
Thanks for watching this segment of Dirt Trax TV. For more great content, make sure you click the links or subscribe to our channel where we're always updating with new content every day throughout the week.